Will the second session of the 96th Annual Conference of the Association of Junior Leagues International come to order? Joining me at the head table from your left to right are Susan Danish, CEO and Association Executive Director, Shuba Lembach, Association Vice President, Elizabeth Tominski, Association Secretary, Parliamentarian Ann Giberson, Laurel Lee Anderson, Alexander, Association President-elect, and Renee Tusi, Association Treasurer. I've also asked Ann Dalton, Chief Officer for Strategic Initiatives, to join us here on the dais, sitting right here behind me to serve as our spotter to ensure that delegates wishing to speak are acknowledged in the appropriate order, since we all know how much these lights affect things. One further administrative detail. As specified in the call to conference, the voting delegates have been asked to sit in the colored-coded areas in front. All others should sit at the tables behind the voting delegates. Is everybody appropriately situated? Is there any movement? Okay. The chair would like to review for you all the orders of the day. The first business in order is the statement on meeting procedures. Then we will update meeting attendance, and after that, the next item of business will be the consideration of the proposed association values and the Secretary's correction motion as listed in the call to conference materials. This will be followed by a consideration of advisory resolutions. When we then will recognize the outgoing and incoming members of the Association Board of Directors. Now, concerning meeting procedures, the chair would like to remind you that debate on main motions will be 30 minutes inclusive. The clock will be stopped only if the tallied vote is taken. Debate may be extended 5 minutes by a 2/3 vote of the delegate body. Any delegate may propose a second on a motion. Delegates seconding a motion need not seek recognition. This is consistent with Robert's Rules of Order. Tom Cavallari and Michelle Gorenstein will be our timers again today. Michelle will time each speaker and will indicate when 3 minutes are up by rising and holding up the blue card. Michelle, please stand so people can see where you are. Okay, and Tom will keep track of the total time spent on each item and will indicate when time is up by rising and holding up a red card. Tom, please stand so everybody can see where you are. The motion to extend the time of debate is in order when the timekeeper, Tom, indicates that time has expired. If you desire to make the motion to extend debate, you must indicate such to a teller and get to the microphone immediately. Throughout today's business, when you are recognized by the chair, please identify yourself by name and league and state for what purpose you are speaking. Introducing a main or subsidiary motion, speaking in favor or against a motion, request for information, or making a priority motion. On the screen is a chart identifying the colors of the cards at the microphone. There should be.
There is.
Okay, is it? Well, it's not down here. They are orange, introducing a main or subsidiary motion. Examples are amendments and motions for the previous question. Green, speaking for. Red, speaking against. And yellow, request for information. Blue, priority motions. Examples are point of order, parliamentary inquiry, and division of the assembly. As detailed in the call to conference rules for the annual business meeting, any delegate Any delegate speaking must display her voting credentials signified by the letter V on the voting delegate's name badge or the letter A on the alternate voting delegate's name badge. Please submit all main motions and amendments in writing. A 4-part form is available from tellers and at the business table in the front of the room. 1 copy each for the chair, the secretary, the parliamentarian, and the person making the motion. Give the top 3 copies of the motion form to a teller who will deliver them to the chair. Regarding the method of voting, this year again we will be using electronic voting. Since we practiced yesterday at Dialogue, we will have only a brief review session in a moment to ensure everyone's prepared for today's business. Whenever we have a vote, the doors to the Assembly Hall will be closed and no one will be allowed to leave or enter. This is to ensure an accurate vote. If a voting delegate must leave the room prior to a vote, she must leave her voting device with the alternate voting delegate from her league, who will take a seat up front until she returns. The tellers this morning are the members of the Association Governance Committee and the AJLI staff. Will the tellers please stand? Thank you, tellers and timers, for your work today. We are now going to update the meeting attendance by identifying how many junior leagues have registered since Thursday afternoon's opening session at annual meeting. I call on Association Secretary Elizabeth Tominski to present the updated registration report.
Madam President, at the opening session of the annual meeting on Thursday, April 19th, there were 207 junior leagues present in person or by proxy. Since that time, an additional 26 junior leagues have registered in person or by proxy, making the total registered at this conference to be 233 junior leagues. I move that this updated report on registration be adopted.
Is there a second? It is moved and seconded to adopt the updated registration report. A majority vote is required for adoption. If there's no objection, the chair proposes to take a voice vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say no. The updated meeting registration is adopted. In terms of proxies, New York state law under which the association is incorporated allows a junior league to give a proxy to anyone to vote on the junior league's behalf as long as certain legal formalities are observed. If your league is holding the proxy for another junior league, you must also have the league's voting delegate badge and electronic voting device. If a junior league gives the proxy to the association, that proxy will be exercised at the annual meeting by the secretary of the association. This year, 4 junior leagues have given their proxies to the association. So AJLI Secretary Elizabeth Tominski will be acting as the representative of the association and voting the proxies on those junior leagues' behalf when votes are taken. Before we consider today's business, we will briefly review how to use your electronic voting device and ensure that everyone is comfortable with the voting process. Each of the voting delegates should have received an electronic voting device that looks like this. If you did not receive your device, please raise your hand and your teller will bring you one now. Good job. Are we ready to begin? Voting delegates, it's very important that from now on you do not jump ahead and vote as soon as the voting slide appears on the screen. You must wait for my instructions to do so. Are we clear about that? Fabulous. You all did such a great job with this yesterday, and it looks like everybody's device is registered. So let's do one quick test to get us warmed up again. This is close to how our motions will appear later this morning, and it's a very tough question, so think very carefully. Are you ready for the question? Tech table, are we ready?
Ladies, we are ready. Please vote.
It's been moved by the board of directors, and therefore second is not required to serve wine and chocolate at every meal. You should select 1 on your keypad if you are in favor of this motion, and 2 if you are opposed. Tech table, are we ready?
We are ready. Please vote now.
Are all the votes in? The chair calls on Paula Perkins, teller chair, to read the results. Paula?
Madam Chair, please let the record show that there were 222 votes cast. There were 201 votes in the affirmative and 21 votes in the negative.
With 201 votes in the affirmative and 21 votes in the negative, this is a majority of the votes cast in the affirmative, and the motion is adopted. Remember that this is only a test and is not binding on the hotel chef or the association, but I'll see what we can do to make you all happy. Are there questions before we move forward with today's business? Thank you very much. We are now ready to begin. A motion has been made by the Board of Directors and therefore does, oh no. Where are we going? Okay. There's lots of crosses out. Okay. Since we all know that technology isn't perfect, I'm going to ask our secretary, Elizabeth Tomensky, to propose a motion to keep our business moving forward today. Elizabeth.
Thank you, Madam President. On behalf of the AJLI Board of Directors, I move that voting by keypad shall be considered to be the equivalent of a counted vote.
A motion has been made by the Board of Directors and therefore does not need a second. If this motion is adopted, it means that the motion for division of the Assembly would not be in order. This requires a majority of votes cast for adoption. Is there any objection to adopting this motion? Since there is none, the motion is adopted. The first business in order to be considered of the proposed is the proposal of the association values. The motion begins on page 12 of your call to conference packet. Let me give you a minute to access that page so you have the motion in front of you. Does everybody have it? The chair now recognizes AJLI Secretary Elizabeth Tomensky.
Thank you, Madam President. Motion number 1 proposes the adoption of additional association values to include each of the following: collaboration, community, empowerment, leadership, respect, and service. I move the adoption of motion number 1 as printed and distributed in the call to conference.
The motion is to adopt motion 1 as printed and distributed. If there's no objection, I will not read the motion. Hearing none, the motion is made on behalf of the Board of Directors and does not need a second. The conference rules require amendments to be submitted in advance, and none were submitted. Is there any discussion on the main motion as presented in the call to conference? If so, please go to the nearest microphone. Miss Ann? Since there is no discussion, the vote will be on motion 1 as printed in the call to conference. Is there any objection to adopting this motion? Since there is none, the motion is adopted. Okay, I want a round of applause. Thank you very much. That has been an incredibly dynamic and wonderful debate for 2 years. The next item of business is the consideration of motion 2, a correcting motion. The chair now recognizes AJLI Secretary Elizabeth Tominski.
Thank you, Madam President. On behalf of the Board of Directors, I move that the Association Secretary, that's me, be authorized to make such editorial corrections as are required to implement the intent of the motion just adopted.
The motion is made on behalf of the Board of Directors and does not require a second. The purpose of the motion is to permit the AJLI Secretary to make non-substantive corrections to the additional association values approved by the junior leagues if needed, to correct grammar, spelling, punctuation, and like. Is there any objection to adopting this motion? Since there is none, the motion is adopted. Okay. Do we? Don't need that. Okay. They didn't share anything. Okay. Couldn't do this without this lady here. She keeps me on track. I do want to point out on the value statement, as said in the call to conference, the diversity and inclusion was not voted on because it has already been approved by the delegate body a couple of years ago. It will now move into place in the value statement, and that document will be ready to use. We will now be considering advisory resolutions. On each table is a list of advisory resolutions that have been submitted by the junior leagues. You all should have also received these materials in detail on your conference app. Do you have them in front of you? As a reminder, advisory resolutions are just that, advisory in nature. The association board may choose to act on them or not. Advisory resolutions passed by the junior leagues will be reviewed by the board at the next regularly scheduled in-person meeting of the board following the annual meeting, which is in June. And the board will then send a letter within 5 days of adjournment of the board meeting to the junior leagues indicating whether action will or not be taken, with an explanation for its decision. The first item for consideration is the advisory resolution proposed by the Junior League of Poughkeepsie. The chair recognizes the delegate from the Junior League of Poughkeepsie.
Can you hear me? Okay. My name is Linda Fakuri, and I am continuing president of the Junior League of Poughkeepsie. I decided to do a 2-year term. Last year when I attended AJLI, one of the big discussions that came up in several sessions was that our mission statement, to start with, was too long. When we try to explain who we are as a league to members who are not familiar with the Junior League, it gets convoluted and we trip up on the words. So what we're asking is that the AJLI board establish a more concise statement. We've now adopted a value statement. We have a purpose, a vision statement, and diversity inclusion statement. We've made long strides and changes, and we're asking that now we come back full circle and review the mission statement to see if we can make it more concise to align it all together. Thank you.
I'm sorry, you need to come back and make a formal motion. You can just read the therefore part and not move on that. Right. Yeah. The bottom paragraph.
We have a copy for you.
Therefore,
Therefore, I move that the AJLI board consider review the Junior League mission statement. Okay?
Do I hear a second? I hear a second. The question is on the advisory resolution proposed by the Junior League of Poughkeepsie and is now open for discussion. Just for clarification, the therefore statement is open for discussion and amendment first, and then we go back to the whereases. Okay?
Sorry,
Okay.
Madam President, I have
I
a,
recognizes at the microphone 2.
I have a point of order. The second was not made from the voting delegates.
It was over here.
Oh, over here. Okay,
Okay.
sorry, thank you.
Thanks, Amy. The chair recognizes microphone 4.
Thank you, Madam President. Heidi Noel, President of the Junior League of Jackson. And I am speaking against this motion because the Junior League mission is very complex, and to fully understand it, you need all of what our current mission statement states. Thank you.
What? Yeah. Chair recognizes microphone 3.
Angie Knapp, Junior League of Fargo-Moorhead, and as someone president the second time trying to save a league, the thing I get caught up is in the verbiage of developing the potential of women. We still are a training and learning organization, but when you're recruiting, that can be a little bit of a put-off to women who coming in with master's degrees, they're prosecutors, so forth. So just, you know, I don't think it hurts anything for the board to just look at the language and have a dialogue around that. It's not, supporting the advisory resolution is not a vote to change the admission statement. It's only advising the board to take a fresh look at it again, because it's been about 20 years since we've done that. Thank you.
Other comments? Do you see any? Oh. Chair recognizes microphone 3.
Heather Viola from the Junior League of Monmouth County. Can I ask the question, is the advisory resolution to change the mission statement or just to review it? Because it reads to establish, I think, in the therefore portion.
She has to answer that.
You might want to stay up there until the discussion. discussion is over, because I might have more questions for you.
She changed the wording on it, though. Did you get the wording? She didn't read it exactly as is. Did you notice she changed the, yeah. Go ahead.
The initial intent was to have the AJL board establish a more concise mission statement. However, if I'm permitted, may I make an amendment?
Actually, your motion was to review.
Okay, so it is
So
to review. It's the
It's
same.
ju, your motion did not
Use the word,
match your therefore. Your motion was to review.
yes, that's what we're asking.
Okay. That answer your question? You're welcome. Chair recognizes microphone 4.
Thank you. Claire Bailey, Junior League of Norman, Oklahoma. I appreciate this motion because I, too, have wondered about the length of our mission statement, but upon review of it and looking at what our league actually does, we recently modified our membership requirements in conformity with the mission statement, and it's really helped provide clarity for our members of what it is that we are trying to accomplish, because members join the league thinking it's social, thinking we just volunteer, and positioning our requirements to reflect the mission is helpful because there are really 3 sections of our mission. One about getting into the community and improving it. One about internally learning and training and building up. And the third about working as a committee. And when you look at the 3 sections of our mission, it really does encompass what the league does. And it is helpful to the members to be able to read the mission and look at each of the 3 sections of it and see that those are the 3 things that we're doing with in-placement hours, with out-of-placement hours, and with trainings.
Thank you. Chair recognizes microphone 1.
Hi, Lori Summerhausen, Junior League of Sacramento. Point of order, on my conference app, the documents don't show up. Is there a place that I can get hard copy of these advisories?
Do we have copies?
Coming your way.
Here. Okay. Thank you. Other comments? We good, Ann? You see him? Are you ready for the question? Okay, the question is the advisory resolution number 1 proposed by the Junior League of Poughkeepsie. This requires a majority of votes cast for adoption. We will vote electronically. Voting delegates, please get your voting devices ready while we bring up the first advisory resolution voting slide.
Switch to center, please.
You will press number 1 on your keypad if you would like to vote in favor of this advisory resolution, or press 2 if you are opposed to this resolution.
Yes.
Tech table, are we ready?
We are ready. Please vote now.
The chair calls on Paula Perkins to read the results.
Madam President, in regards to advisory resolution number 1 regarding reviewing the Junior League mission statement, please let the record show that out of 220 votes cast, there were 83 votes in the affirmative and 137 votes in the negative.
There were 220 votes in the cast. There were 83 votes in the affirmative and 137 in the negative. The motion is not adopted. The next item for consideration is the advisory resolution number 2, proposed by the Junior Leagues of Edmonton. Yes. Hannah, please make your motion first.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Whereas the 2018 to 21 draft AJLI strategic framework demands of us that we forge a new path and effect transformational change lest we become irrelevant. And whereas the name Junior League has a proud and storied history in our organization, but junior has 2 meanings as an adjective: young or low in rank or status. And whereas a name that denotes less than or inexperience is wholly inconsistent with rebranding efforts to communicate organizational excellence and clarity of purpose. And whereas the label junior implies a progression to a higher level or a different organization, which is reinforced by some aging out practices, therefore be it resolved that the AJLI board change the conversation by considering the possibility of changing the name Junior League to a more descriptive and accurate title that befits our organization and our brand.
She needs to formally move that. Yes. I need a second. It's been moved and seconded, and the question is on the advisory resolution proposed by the Junior League of Edmonton and is now open for discussion. Please go to the closest mic to respond to this resolution. Hannah, you may speak first.
Kind of laid it all out there in my whereases. So I would suggest that our name is disempowering. I would suggest that it's a barrier to recruitment. It's a barrier to seeding new leagues. And it's a barrier to our growth internationally. We've heard from marketing professionals that brand is queen and name and label are integral to that. And I think we are hobbling ourselves from the get-go by using a label that infantilizes our members. It's a conversation that many of us have had, and I know, and I'm a leaguer to the end. I am so proud of this organization. It's a singular organization. But I think we will continue to shrink by that 2%. If we don't rebrand wholly and look at the entire piece and be able to say, this is who we are moving forward. We're part of a women's empowerment movement around the world, and we are women, and I ain't junior.
Please move to the microphones. The chair recognizes microphone 3.
Hi, I'm Jessica Wooder from the Junior League of Hamilton, Burlington, and Ontario. I'd like to speak in favor of this motion as I find, I agree with Hannah, and I find the term junior incredibly ironic. Since we are all involved in a part of an organization that aims to empower women and to promote them and to help them become leaders in our communities, how can we do this effectively if our name does not represent this goal? And in fact, not only doesn't represent us, but perpetuates a negative stereotype that women are less than or in lower rank or status as it's defined in the dictionary. So I just wonder if the negative connotations from the word junior are holding us back, especially as we try to recruit members from the next generations. Thank you.
Microphone 6.
Chair recognizes microphone 6.
Hi, this is Carla from Junior League of Charlottesville. I want to speak a little bit in against this. I understand branding is very important, but especially with the changes we're doing with the diversity and inclusion, we have to recognize our stigmas and our brands that we currently have, and nothing is more profound than saying, like, you may think that we are one thing, but we are another, and that's what we're currently in. We do a lot of great work to prove and to show that we are not the girls in prose, as Carol mentioned in her opening speech. So I feel like if we were to remove the century of brand recognition that we have, might be detrimental.
Chair recognizes microphone 1.
Hi, I'm Jenny Tian from the Junior League of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I am speaking in favor of this resolution because it is just a conversation. It is not changing it today. And I agree with everything everyone has said, including the against, because it's a conversation we need to have. And it's been a long time coming. Thank you.
Chair recognizes microphone 6.
Hello, Colleen Blades from the Junior League of London. I would like to speak in favor of this motion. As a marketing professional, and let me say that I am deeply proud of the league, and it gives me significant gratification to be part of the league, but I think that we need to look at changing ourselves. When you look, if you do a Google search on why was the reasons that you rebrand, the top 2 reasons are when you want to shake off an old image and when you want to tap into a new demographic. So first of all, I ask, how do we make ourselves relevant for Gen Z? And unfortunately, in London, we have a trouble recruiting with a lot of Americans that still think that we're the ladies that lunch. And I think that the women before us have done an amazing, amazing job forging a path, but I think this is something we need to look at. Thank you.
Chair recognizes microphone 1.
Hi, Jenny Taylor from Memphis. Hi, everybody. Hope you're having a good week. I am speaking against this motion specifically because of the cost of branding to not only our individual league, but to the association that has just embarked upon a whole branding and unstoppable campaign. And I would think that it would take a number of years as well as financial impact on our organization to do this. Additionally, in our 117 years, we've fought hard to make our name known, and to rebrand at this stage would have a considerable detriment to our organization.
Chair recognizes microphone 5.
Hi, Katie Eldridge from the Junior League of Birmingham, speaking against the motion. With the name Junior League, we have had a long and storied and very successful history. And that is a history that has value to it and importance. In addition, at least in our community, and I would imagine in many of yours, the Junior League has a very positive name. We, in fact, did market research in our own community, and everyone who knew the name Junior League viewed it with an extreme positivism. There was no negativity associated with that name. So market research actually supports staying with that name, at least in our community and with our large league. In addition, the cost associated with such a change and with rebranding so that people still knew who we were, that our volunteers were the most talented, the best trained, the ones that could be counted on in the community, would require significant effort and cost that wouldn't be worthwhile given the strong reputation we already have. Thank you.
Chair recognizes microphone 2.
Hi there, Erica Kramer from Junior League of Reno, and had a couple thoughts. While my feelings are mixed regarding an actual name change, the motion is to consider a name change. So again, I believe it's a discussion that needs to be considered. And yes, a rebrand is significant in work intensive and in financial resources, but if you are going to do a rebrand or consider one, it is better to do one now than further down the line. And I wanted to also say that, yeah, the vernacular has changed. So we don't say bee's knees anymore, and so the word junior has different connotations. And from another marketing standpoint, the amount of negative search terms that we have to put into Google, when you Google search junior league, you come up with a lot of baseball. So from a marketing and branding standpoint, it would be more powerful to have a name that makes more sense to our league's mission and purpose. So again, it causes online searchability issues. And while the name is strong in some cities, it is not strong in others. So it's just something to consider. The motion is just to consider, not to actually, we're not going to leave here and change the name. And I also, when you're talking about a rebrand, it's not a full rebrand. I wouldn't change the color or the theme or the feel or the values. It would be a name change.
And so it's just that. It's just something to consider as far as a name change. And I wouldn't deviate too far because I agree, it's the founder's name, it's got historical value, she chose the name, and I wouldn't deviate too far from that. As a matter of fact, I think league has become almost like a search term like Google, where we go, I said I was going leaguing this weekend. So I wouldn't go too far from that, but get together and something to discuss, because if we are going to adapt a different name to be more relevant and go into the future as this organization, that it's something to consider now.
The chair recognizes microphone 4.
Good morning, Kelly Moore with Junior League of Lee County in Alabama. I'm speaking against this. Being a member of the presidential family and the daughter-in-law of a past international president of Lions Club International, which is a very large service organization, it was very shocking when I chose to invest my time and my resources in a different organization. But I did, and it's because I joined Junior League because I recognize the name and what this organization stands for, and I didn't join it because of its official name.
Microphone 5.
Chair recognizes microphone 5.
Good morning, ladies. Tiffany Blackman from the Junior League of Battle Creek, Michigan, against this motion. I'd have you consider a couple of things. So I recently hopped on our Facebook group in diversity and inclusion, and also the Women of Color Affinity group, and asked the question about any internal groups for younger girls within league. And I've heard the terms like Little Leaguer, Junior League, and Little League sounds just silly, but Junior Leaguer, it's whatever. Our actual name, I'd have you consider the depth and length of time that people recognize that name. The artist formerly known as Prince, everybody still called him Prince. Like when you change someone's name, you have a plethora of back-end work to do to try to connect people to what always has been, but now they're confused about what it is because it's not that anymore. I would suggest that we double down on our efforts to promote Junior League better with the name that we have. With that collective voice that we keep talking about. It's gonna cause confusion if we change our name. So yeah, I'm against it.
The chair recognizes microphone 4. I'm sorry. I have to alternate when there is a red and a green. I have to go that way. If it's all red, I can go all red, or all green, I can go all green. But when there's both, I have to alternate.
All right, I was just being polite.
As a good junior leaguer.
I actually was the one who asked the question last year, and I brought this question to my board, and we didn't have a unanimous for or against. But Mary Ann, Junior League of Olympia.
Thank you.
Sorry. But for a living, I do research. I play with data, and I support gathering information and making sure that we still have that pulse point. And I don't feel like we utilized the full branding potential of the budget by avoiding the name, by not researching the name when we did the brand market. I love the unstoppable marketing that we're doing, but I think if we don't have the whole picture, then we can't support all the leagues with all the branding. So I think having a discussion about this is healthy, just like the previous proposal about having the discussion about the mission. I don't think we need to be, in a sense, against gathering data. So I'm for this resolution.
Thank you. Chair recognizes microphone 2.
Madam Chair, Amy Solar from the Junior League of Washington. I'm speaking in opposition to this motion for two reasons. I agree with the previous delegate who talked about the financial commitment. As we've gone all in figuratively and literally on a brand identity effort, I think we need to keep the conversation focused there. And from an efficiency perspective, I think the idea to consider and to give this action to the board in the midst of starting a new strategic plan, having transition and all the work that's already underway with the board would be an inefficient use of time. Thank you.
I know, she's next. Microphone one.
The green. There's a green.
Oh, all right then.
Yes. Chair recognizes microphone 2.
Thank you very much, Melissa Ostrasser, Junior League of Toronto, and I'm speaking in favor of this motion. The reason I'm speaking in favor of the motion, again, is, as much as we have a connection to the organization and potentially a connection to the name, I think it is, we need to demand that we're getting facts and not allowing, our hearts to rule this decision. We've talked about how we've fought a long history and we're fighting for this and fighting for that. Well, wouldn't it be nice if we didn't have to fight because of our name and that, we aren't being held back by that seat at the table because of the word junior? We heard a wonderful, inspiring speech yesterday from our Mary Harriman winner, and talking about how just, fighting to get statues of women in the rotunda. So wouldn't it be nice if there was just one less thing that caused a fight for us? Thank you.
Chair recognizes microphone 1.
Hi, Selena Montoya, Junior League of San Antonio, and I'm speaking in opposition of this, partially because of the points that are made by my fellow members here, not only because of the cost and inefficiency of proceeding in this type of activity, but just as a point of identity as well. I did not change my name after being married. I know a number of women who feel empowered by the identity that they sense with who they are, the legacy of not only their family, but their community. And I think that there's something to be said about the amazing work that we have seen the junior leagues do all across this entire globe and the histories associated with that. We've seen the presentation, we've seen the video, we've seen that the Junior League has had a seat at the table in the past. They have gone to Congress, they have spoken on behalf of women. They've done amazing things under the banner of Junior League. I think it's our time to reclaim that identity and work towards ensuring that we are giving everyone the opportunity to be a part of that banner. Thank you.
There's a green at 6.
The chair recognizes the green at microphone 6.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Hannah Barrington, President of the Junior League of Edmonton. I would just like to just call attention to the fact that we do have a little bit of market research about our name recognition. We heard it at Salt Lake City, and I know that in some communities and areas you have a great brand recognition and fantastic, but they were single digits across the board. They were not reassuring numbers, and I think that that's, in speaking about data collection, that's all we're talking about here, is just looking at this so that we are making an informed decision and not just saying, we've done it forever, we're sticking with it, to hell with the numbers. I'm really nervous that we keep shrinking and that we are inward looking with this. And all of this navel gazing and but it's ours, I'm so proud of our identity. I think our identity can handle a slight tweak for us to face outwards and be able to claim that. I'm just asking for people to considering the name change. Thank you very much.
Chair recognizes microphone 6, speaking against.
Morning, Ann Neckel from the Junior League of Birmingham, Michigan. I believe I'm speaking against, and I just want us to take a step back and look at the more technical aspect of this and a name change and the legal ramifications for all of our leagues in refiling our articles of incorporation to include a name change, to look at all of our collateral. I believe, to echo all the other lovely women here, that we have a strong, rich history, and we need to embrace that.
Chair recognizes the 4 at microphone 4.
So no green?
No green?
Okay, then you need to go over to 1.
Okay, sorry 4. The chair recognizes microphone 1.
Jennifer Casada from Northwest Arkansas in opposition to this motion. Amendment. The one thing that I haven't heard yet, and I think is important for us to consider, is the timing of considering the name change. We are embarking on this fabulous effort of diversity and inclusion, and I just want to make sure that we're thinking about maybe an unintended message of changing our name at the same time we're trying to welcome others in. So I just wanted to make sure that we think about maybe a different message, that maybe not doing any kind of change to our name at the same time we're trying to include many others. Thank you.
Microphone 4.
Chair recognizes microphone 4.
Madam President, I'm Heidi Knoll with the Junior League of Jackson, and I am opposed to this because the name recognition of Junior League in our community ensures that we have a seat at the table. And so having to go back and figure that out would be very difficult. It is a door opener for us, and it does give us a seat at the table immediately. Thank you.
Stay at 4.
Stay at 4. The chair recognizes microphone 4.
Hi, I'm Terrell Martinez from the Junior League of Guadalajara. I'm probably going to make some enemies in a minute with my international friends, but I'm against this. Even though I live in a country where the J is not pronounced, it's pronounced as an H, so I have a lot of friends who pronounce it the Junior League, or Ligue, and I have to correct them. Also, there is a negative connotation with the word juniors in Mexico. Juniors are the sons or daughters of, usually sons, of rich business owners who don't do anything. They only live off of the money that their parents have made. They drive fancy cars, they go to clubs, they don't participate. And also, when we do have, because our membership is 70% expats, I do fight with that negative pearls and tea connotation that some of the women do have coming from different states in the US. So even though I have to do all that extra work, I'm willing to sit down with people and explain who we are and what it is that we do. And yes, it does take more time, but I feel like it's worth it. I feel like in doing that, it gives me an opportunity to explain more about what the league is. And also, maybe it would be good to have some kind of task force where I hear people saying that we still have this negative stereotype in a lot of different cities, and I think that's really unfortunate. Maybe it would be good to have some kind of task force that more addresses that, and maybe we could have some kind of campaign or something where we address, I did an article, I did an interview for a local newspaper, and I said, this is not your mama's junior league. We are active women, and we are doing good work, and we're not just sitting around having tea.
I have a motion at 6.
Christy Bettendorf, Junior League of Long Beach, sorry, late night. I move to close discussion.
Close discussion. Yes, that's a previous question. Yes. We need a second. Is there discussion on the motion to close discussion? No? No discussion. Okay. It is a 2/3 vote to close discussion. Is there any objection to closing discussion? There is none, so the motion carries. Now, discussion is closed, and we're going to vote on the motion. The question is on the advisory resolution proposed by the Junior League of Edmonton and is now open, or now, please, excuse me. It's not a, okay. We will vote electronically. Voting delegates, please get your voting device ready while we bring up the second advisory resolution voting slate. You will press 1 on your keypad if you'd like to vote in favor of this advisory resolution, or press 2 if you are opposed to this resolution. Tech table, are we ready?
We are ready. Please vote now.
Get ready to count. Okay. And tell me the total. Okay. Are all the votes recorded? The chair calls on Paula Perkins to read the results.
Madam President, in regards to advisory resolution number 2 regarding considering change of the name Junior League, please let the record show that out of 223 total votes cast, there were 47 votes in the affirmative and 176 votes in the negative.
Is that is it 2/3? No, it was just a majority. Yeah. Yes. There being a majority of votes of the 223 and 176 votes in the negative of the votes cast, the motion is lost. Okay. Okay, do I need to read this? Is there okay, we're still on time? We're still on time? Okay. It's now time to recognize the outgoing and welcome the incoming members of the AJLI Board of Directors. I invite the current and incoming members of the AJLI Board of Directors to please take their seats on the dais. As per bylaw changes made in 2006 annual conference, the incoming directors and officers do not take office until June 1. Therefore, what we are going to do now is to welcome them and thank those whose terms will end May 31st. The chair calls on Bette Williams, Association Governance Committee Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For the past several years, the following board members have dedicated themselves to serving the Junior League as at-large directors, helping to shape the future of the association. Please rise as I call your name and remain standing until all outgoing members have been presented. Thank you to Carol Goodman from the Junior League of Baltimore. Thank you to the Junior League of London for Ingrid Jacobson. And thank you to the Junior League of Greater Fort Lauderdale for Audrey Ring. And thank you to the Junior League of Mexico City for Coyo Munoz, who has served the past 3 years as the International Director on the AJLI Board.
And thank you to the Junior League of Columbia for Bet Williams, outgoing Governance Committee Chair.
Thank you, Carol. Please join me in thanking these outgoing members of the Board of Directors for their contribution to the association. It is now with great pride that I welcome the incoming at-large directors of the Board of Directors, and would each please rise when I call her name and remain standing until all have been introduced. Zena Martin from the Junior League of Savannah. Ness Okonkwo from the Junior League of Los Angeles. And Whitney Wilson Wirtz from the Junior League of Charlotte. These women will each serve a 3-year term as at-large director. And next, I'd like to introduce Paula Perkins from the Junior League of Wichita Falls. Paula has been duly elected as Governance Committee Vice Chair in accordance with the AJLI bylaws, and will serve 1 year as Vice Chair and then will automatically succeed to a 1-year term as Governance Committee Chair. Let me once more congratulate Malia Fallon from the Junior League of Minneapolis, who will serve as the Governance Committee Chair for the 2018-2019 year, having served as Vice Chair this past year. Please join me in welcoming these incoming directors of the board. And now we will recognize the outgoing and incoming members of the Executive Committee. And you all will also need to rise. Thank you to the Junior League of Columbus, Ohio for Shuba Limbach. Shuba is our outgoing association vice president. Thank you to the Junior League of Boston for Elizabeth Tominski. Elizabeth is our outgoing secretary. Elizabeth has also been duly elected as Association Vice President and will serve a 2-year term, 2018-2020. And I welcome the incoming Association Secretary, Cece Gassner from the Junior League of Boise. I'm also very honored to say that Laurel Lee Alexander from the Junior League of Monterey County was elected last year to serve a 1-year term as president-elect, and this year will automatically succeed to a 2-year term as president of the Association of Junior Leagues International. We look forward to hearing from Laurel tonight at the celebration banquet. Madam Chair, that concludes the Governance Committee's recognition of the outcoming AJLI board members, with one very, very important exception. It is at this annual conference that we will be saying goodbye to you, the 2016-2018 Association President. Carol, the script says you're supposed to stand. On behalf of the member leagues of the association and the women in our global family, we thank you for the countless hours you've dedicated to making us stronger, more inclusive, and women who do build better communities. We thank you for showing us what unstoppable looks like. We thank the Junior League of Pasadena for your service and loaning us to you. We thank your family and the Children's Discovery Museum of the Desert. I now turn the meeting over to Carol for her farewell remarks.
That's enough. That's enough. You're going to make me cry before I ever start. And we all know what that leads to, right? Okay. You got to remember, I'm the person that cries at commercials and little dogs and kids, so bear with me. And I start by saying thank you. Our lives reflect a series of endings and beginnings, and each ending marks a new beginning. An annual conference is a time when we bring both of those things together. We celebrate the contributions we have made and speak of the future promises. This weekend, we honor the achievements of individuals and leagues and have successfully embraced their communities, and in doing so have expanded all of our horizons. It is truly a magical time to sit in this room where we all have the same purpose and mission. Singularly, our most important event is annual conference. I wish for you, all of you, if you had the vantage point that I have right now and the one that I've had over the last 3 years, to see all of you assembled to be once again in this precious company is truly a gift. To have been able to visit so many of your leagues, your programs, your communities, to speak with your membership and your boards has been a gift as well. You need to know it has been one of the great joys of my life. Stop it. To each of you who have shared your league with me, I say a special thanks. To have seen firsthand the difference you have made in so many communities, the respect and esteem in which you are held has given me all the reason I ever needed to love this job, and a special pride in knowing you are representative of all the leagues in this room. It is magic to be all together again. 2 years ago, I stood before you and I shared my hopes for this organization, and they have really changed. So I'm going to share them again, or at least some of them, because I went on way too long and makes Susan nervous when I do. I hope we can continue to focus our time and our efforts in our communities on becoming community builders locally, but recognize the power that exists to strengthen that work by learning, connecting, and embracing the ever global world that we live in. I hope that no matter how different we may be as individuals, that we strengthen our skills to have tolerance, acceptance, and the valuing of others. However big that difference is, there is far more that unites us than divides us. That unconditional positive regard for everybody, which I say all the time. The ability to stay at the table, to listen and respect the differences, and through that experience, expand our own hearts. I hope we continue to move forward to craft the organization that we need to be. It takes no special insight to comprehend that the playing field as we have now has changed forever. In meeting after meeting I have attended, I hear the same message. We must transform ourselves or re-engineer in order to continue to be relevant and competitive. I hope in our search for defining, expanding, and strengthening our brand that we can find our collective voice as an association and to lift up our collective impact across our 4 countries. To lead in a world of change, I believe we must safeguard these attributes, those core competencies that are our organization and give us special reason to exist: our capability, our credibility, and our commitment. I am convinced we have much to be proud of. But I'm also going to state that we are only at the threshold of what we have the potential to do. I hope to see a growing membership that represents women with the reputation for understanding the context in which all people in their communities exist, because they can see the community through the eyes of the whole, not just their own. Women whose expertise is sought after in all community forums, that they are seen as approachable and knowledgeable, and without them, it would be almost unthinkable to sit down in any community table where the Junior League isn't present. Women that understand and know how to navigate and sometimes tread in those turbulent waters of race, of power, and class, but are not afraid to talk about them and to share and to develop shared solutions. As leaders, we have a very short moment in time to touch this organization, but we have confidence that our efforts honor the dreams of those who came before us and those who come after us, that they will embrace and enhance those same dreams. I am incredibly and overwhelmingly enthusiastic about the Junior League. About our women, about you, and all of those who will follow. I can't tell you how proud I am to see so many faces of the women who were in my ODIs that are now the leaders sitting in this room. That truly has been an incredible journey. I believe the power we have to do good and to have compassion lives deep within all of us, and we must always remember that it is there, pull it out, and use it. Before I close, I want to express my sincere thanks to the women in this room, the great board members who have worked alongside, tolerated my craziness and my slightly strong drive. The remarkably talented and committed staff that I've had the opportunity to work with is amazing. But a special love-filled appreciation to my incredible husband, Mark. Always there to be my support and my greatest influence to be a better me. To my son, Matthew, my movie marathon buddy. And if you don't know that story, I'll tell you another time. Matthew and I, for years, have gone to 4 movies a day and had great fun, but he's also one of my greatest cheerleaders. Thank you, Matt. And to my daughter, Melinda, who has traveled this mother-daughter presidential path together with me, I'm so proud of you. It has truly been an added special element to this presidency. We all need witnesses to what we call our lives, and I have had some of the greatest. To all of you, thank you. When you accept this job, you know it is only for 2 years. It's not like they let you do it again. And so I am reminded by one of my favorite philosophers, Dr. Seuss, which might explain some of my behavior. Don't cry that it's over. Be happy that it happened. I am so happy that my time as president has been able to happen. Thank you. Okay, I'm going off script, Susan. Where are you? Okay, I have to add this in honor of my husband and my son, but also something I shared with the past presidents this morning. Hall of Fame baseball player Henry Aaron, also known as Hammering Hank, hit 755 home runs during his career. His brother, Tommy, he of no nickname, hit 8. Together they constitute the single most awesome home run hitting brother combination in the Major League history. I look out over this audience. I know the board behind me. I know the staff, and I feel a lot of appreciation for that applause, but I also feel that I'm like Tommy, Aaron. This group has been the Hammering Hank, and you've made all of the great hits. You have much to go, and I simply have been Tommy the Tapper. I'm really very, very proud to be a part of this organization, to have shared this journey over the last 2 years with you. And now, please give yourself a round of applause because you deserve it. One of the things that I always say to new leaders is that when you're the best you're the best leader. And unfortunately, part of me is a crier. And it is who I am. I appreciate your tolerance of that. And thank you for the wonderful, outstanding support. And thank you for your work this morning. We're getting there. We're talking about stuff. That's the longest holiday we've had in 3 years. Thank you very much for a very robust annual business meeting. I hope you have a wonderful afternoon on your Junior League excursions or just enjoying a bit of free time, and we will look forward to seeing you at the evening celebration, reception, and dinner. The 96th annual session is now adjourned.